Hello and welcome to this new episode of Bootstrapping Your Dreams Show. I'm your host Manuj Aggarwal, and today I'm honored to have a fascinating conversation with Jeff Moore. So Jeff is the director of seafood and business development at Global Protein Group. In 2019, Global Protein Group, the food service and custom product solution division of Porky Products, was one of the largest traders of beef, pork, and poultry in North America, generated about 207 million in sales. Uh,
It's
uh,
actually it's actually Porky Products is what we're a division of, and we've done about $2 billion in
oh,
sales.
2 billion. Okay, I must have picked it up wrong. So there's another zero there. Jeff is known for short-term sales cycles, high conversions, value-based, quantifiable business solutions, team building, and world-class lifelong customer and supplier relationships. Jeff is also the president of International Pacific Seafoods, a
Not
specialty
anymore.
import. No, okay, all
No,
right.
that's all done. That was
Uh,
formerly.
all right. I'm so sorry about. I thought we picked up the right history,
No, that
but
was
anyway.
formerly
Okay.
with the president and
Okay.
owner of International.
Okay. So I'll talk about the Thursday Night Boardroom. So Jeff is the founder of business development, marketing, and entrepreneurial lifestyle and business advisory mastermind group called Thursday Night Boardroom. And over 800 members from 26 countries from different industries have been part of this group. And I have had the pleasure of participating as well. Uh, Jeff is an experienced leader, coach, speaker. Jeff is also creator of multi-layer strategic initiatives involving suppliers and customers in tandem that share a common language called value. Jeff has been passionate about marketing, providing actionable solutions, value creation, and developing world class relationships and extraordinary performers. I'm so happy to have you, Jeff.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the Thursday Night Boardroom part you got right. It was Global Protein Group is a division of Porky Products, which is one of the
Okay.
largest traders, and so fun to work with. It's just
Awesome. Awesome. I apologize for all the mix ups there.
not even a problem at all.
Awesome. So, yeah, it will be really good to go through your journey. I mean, you have had tremendous success. So, can you tell us how you got started? How was your journey like in the business world?
Well, I've been in sales. Going back in seventh grade is when I started selling door to
Wow.
door for an entrepreneur who was a
Uh-huh.
junior in high school, making $10,000 a month,
Uh-huh.
selling lawn aeration, which is loosening the soil.
Yeah.
It's a process, and I worked for him, and he's like a big brother to me. And I was at seventh, eighth grade. I was making like $300 a week
Wow.
in cash, selling door to door this
Uh,
service,
uh,
and just really loved sales, and had different odd jobs, and been in the food service business, food supply chain type business, warehousing, distribution, for as long as I can tell you. Like high school, I was sweeping under pallets and freezers and doing different things and being involved in customer service and things in food service,
uh,
distribution to restaurants and hotels and whatnot. And actually, fourth generation food service on that
wow.
side, Orange County, California.
Uh,
And just really found myself, studying that methodology. And back in the late 80s, early 90s, I had a mentor by the name of Joe Dillon, who was a fitness and nutrition expert uh,
uh,
for Olympians and everything like that. And he taught me about Windshield University.
okay.
And since I was driving, gosh, I was driving like 500-600 miles a week,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
uh, at least. And he said you should be not spending any time without getting better.
I see.
And so he introduced me to Tony Robbins. He introduced me to Nightingale Conant. I mean, there was a time in Nightingale Conant, which was brilliant. They used to just send you the stuff,
I see.
and you could use it, like it, and pay for it, or use it, not like it, and send it back.
Wow.
And I ended up keeping probably most of it,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and was selling and learning. And early on, I always thought, continuing to pitch and always pitching and always pitching and always closing. I had a sales manager that's just like, man, you suck at this. And I'm like, what? And he goes, you're a big guy. He goes, so people are already going to be intimidated by you.
Mm,
he goes, you should probably settle back a little bit and ask better questions. And so he taught me about asking questions, and he did it in a way that really wasn't cool. So I wanted to resist it. But he taught me about questions at that point, and just kept studying and more. And over time, really started to identify, this is still early 90s, what really matters and what a customer's looking for. Like, I'm selling product. It's, for most salespeople, they're like, hey, I've got I've got food, and the customer, you have money, let's trade. And they don't give a crap about what he's doing with it or anything. And I just knew that there was a better way of doing that. And I didn't know it was called consultative selling at the time or anything like that, but it was, offering value added menu ideas, and supply chain solutions, and offering all sorts of different solution based stuff. And, all the while, through college and everything, I was a bartender. So bartender's always like the great, listener of people. So that really helped me out too. I owned my own bartending service, and really had a lot of fun doing stuff like that, and learning about just real person to person service then. And it just translated. And fast forward, I'd been in in food service since the late 80s, early 90s. Late 90s, we ended up buying a seafood company. And my family, my father, my brother, and I was in charge of sales. We were doing about maybe $10 million, $11 million, and grew that business over about 14, 15 years to doing about $35 million in sales, which is still a tiny piece of business. But as I continued to study and master my craft, I learned about the power of the mastermind. And about 2009, I was invited to the original Tony Robbins. It was actually called the Ultimate Business Mastery Summit, and he and Chet Holmes, God rest his soul, had the program out there. And so I attended that. There was only like 500 people there, and I mean, it was, and he did a great job. It was like the best of the old school people, like Jay Abraham and Stephen M.R. Covey, and Chet Holmes, of course. And the new guys like Gary Vaynerchuk and Brendan Burchard and Evan Pagan, and these guys that were, doing very well, and just really learned a lot. And at that point in 2009, I got the home study course, and I invited some people to do it with me. And that was the very beginning of what we call now Thursday Night Boardroom. There was a couple guys, and then it kind of dissipated because we were doing it on a Friday afternoon. And then and there's lots of stuff going on during the week. And about 6 months later, I said, Thursday nights, we're really not doing much on Thursday nights. I'm going to get better. And so I invited some people. I said, look, Thursday nights, I'm going to start studying more business strategy. And, come, don't come, I don't care. I'm going to get better. And 4 people came to the first Thursday Night Boardroom, and we watched Gary Vaynerchuk's keynote at the Ultimate Business Mastery Summit, and just completely changed their life like it changed my life the first and second and fifth time I've seen it, and all times in between. And, I just literally found the power of collaboration, the power of solution focused, and really the amazing power of questions, and to be able to contextualize questions on why you're asking them, and then have the customer or whoever you're talking to eagerly want to answer those questions, because they know that those questions are going to help them look at their business differently and benefit.
It's amazing. Like I've been learning from you for a long time, and I mean, what is unique is that you already are so successful, but you never stop growing, you never stop learning, and you never stop collaborating. So what is that drive? Like, because most people I meet, like, 35 million is I mean, a lot of money for them, and they say, oh, I think I'm good now, but you keep pushing yourself. So what is that drive that pushes you?
Well, first of all, 35 million is revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And 35 million of revenue, if you're in the commodity seafood business, that's not a lot of profit. Maybe a couple million at best there, but everybody's going to say, love what you do, have a passion for what you do. I'm good at what I do. I have confidence in that. But the acknowledgement is the thing. I think the thing that they don't really talk about a lot. And when I say they, the guys that are answering these questions way more regularly than I am, they're like, oh, you got to love what you do and be passionate. And the acknowledgement that there's always another level. And the pursuit of the other level, but not in a position of need, but a position of want. We see around here a lot. I mean, the guy I work for now is a friend of mine for the last 30 years. Best leader I've ever worked for, and probably one of the top 5 leaders I've ever heard of. From just his ability, his awareness, and his way to really identify with where every one of his employees are and be that go-to person for them as well, and making them feel number one at all times. And we have a conversation every once in a while for when we're struggling with a piece of business that maybe the customer or the prospect is being less than genuine. He's like, we don't need their business. And at the first time he said it, I thought it was kind of arrogant to say that we don't need their business. But I kind of, when he said it, a couple of times, I said, that doesn't sound right to me. He goes, no. Now don't get me wrong. We want their business, and we're going to prove it to them every day. But if we find ourselves spending more time, chasing things that are not there, then we're taking time away from the customers that want to do business with us.
That's true.
So it's a really great way of looking at things. But I just think that whole thing about wanting to get to another level, for no other reason than to be able to show the people I love that there's the pursuit of another level is always fruitful.
Exactly. Yeah. It's almost like an Olympic athlete who wants to push himself or herself like further and further improve, and not only just improve himself but also inspire others to do better, right?
I absolutely. And but the difference between the word need and want is massive. There's a huge chasm between those two. And so when we are working in like, hey, I really need to get this piece of business, you're not operating from your most confident self. You're operating actually from a position of fear. And that, you in a lot of ways present yourself so you don't lose the business, or you're trying to protect it, or you're doing something that doesn't allow you to be as creative as you want to be, and as creative as you probably should be. So that's a very important distinction about wanting to get to another level.
For sure. And where does the other thing what I noticed, and this was unique when I learned from you, is that you treat business as an extension of life. Like most people say, I'm gonna 9 to 5 and I'm done, but you like complete the whole package, and you encompass life and business and family. So tell us a little bit more about that. Where did that concept come from?
Well, I don't know where it came from, but when you hear something and it fits kind of like the description of who you are, what you're doing, there's a couple of things. How you do one thing's how you do everything. And so I can't work 9 to 5 or whatever this is here, 7 to 5 or 7 to 6 or whatever it is, and then go off and do my advisory coaching business and do something different there. It all has to be from the same person, because it is from the same person. And then the way I teach my kids, I mean, I think that familiarity maybe shortens your fuse a little bit sometimes, or that familiarity, you're not as gracious as you deliver it, and that's always, again, something I want to get better at. But it is the exact same thing. It's about asking questions. I find I'm at my worst when I'm talking to somebody or at somebody, if that ever happens anymore, and not talking with them. But when I find myself in the biggest sense of frustration, I catch myself and I get back into asking questions. And I've always believed that asking questions is going to reveal so much more than trying to come up with all the answers. I also have a saying, and this is really the saying that was born of Thursday Night Boardroom, and that is learn to teach to know and share, and do with passion. And so, that's the lesson that I learned early on is when you learn something, turn around and teach it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And instead of me thinking about who am I going to turn around and teach this to after it's over, I actually learn as if it's an obligation to the person I'm going to be teaching this to or sharing this with. And so I'm like, oh, I can't wait to share this part with him, or oh, I can't wait to share with this. Manuj is going to love this, And so I'm listening more intently. I'm learning a lot more. And then when I turn around and teach it, and you would say, oh, well, what about this? Or what about, hey, good question. I don't know, but gives us an opportunity to go deeper and learn it better. But as we continue to share it and do and act with it, because we really never know it until we act with it, is something super important. And, questions and answers for me, Manuj, has been, even today, when I've got, processes about questions and my 5 questions on the back of my card and how that's helped generate, $40 million in savings for my customers and food costs, annual food costs. If before we have these realizations, right, and we've been acting upon what we believe are the correct answers to questions that we were asking back whenever we set this foundation, the most dangerous thing and the most corrosive thing that we can deal with is acting upon the correct answer of the wrong question.
Oh, wow.
It might have been the right question 5 years ago. Or 10 years ago, or 2 months ago, right? And you're doing it like, that's what I would do, man. That's the correct answer. But it's not necessarily the wrong question. It's just not the right question.
That's
meaning, is there a different question that's going to help you? And I just learned that September 20th, 2020. So, literally, 2 months ago, I'm sitting at a meeting and we're talking about logistics, and my boss asked this one question, and it literally changed the way I looked at everything and it pertained to this logistics question. And then just to make it more painful, I actually went and calculated what the correct answer to the wrong question, or the incorrect question, or not the right question. Over the last 19 years was $1.1 million in profit.
Wow.
In profit.
Wow.
So it was pretty painful to see, because then I did the stupid thing and extrapolated in what it was in equivalent sales equivalent, and I just wanted to myself in the face. But I'm constantly looking and asking questions. When people go, oh, this is the way we've always done it, or oh, that's just, why do you do that? Because that's the way we've always done it. I always know that there's an opportunity to ask questions that may change the perspective and the trajectory of somebody's benefit, profit, whatever that benefit may be.
That's awesome. And then, it's very interesting how you, as I said, you treat business as an extension of life. So your approach is like very human relationship focused, and if I can use the word deceptively simple, like, you print the question on the back of the card, like it's it's like it happens automatically. Like whatever you're trying to do sort of happens automatically, where, as you said, most people spend a lot of energy hustling and doing those things. So that simplicity is just amazing. Now let's talk about the Thursday night boardroom. Like you mentioned how you started it, and I've been a part of it, and it's fascinating how people come together and you ask them one question, which is, what is your selfish ask? So how did that transform? Like, I mean, obviously you started watching these videos, but tell us the journey, because I've heard some amazing stories about people who have been there and collaborations that happen and everything.
Well, that the selfish ask is just kind of getting people to a point. I will tell you this, that we're going to have a special session at the beginning of December, the first Thursday in December, and there's going to be a whole new set of questions.
Okay.
And the one of the main questions is going to be, what is the greatest result you have helped your client, a client ever achieve?
Okay.
What was that? What did you got for a client, basically?
I see.
Right? And from that, we're going to be able to work backward and help you serve better to everybody, because we're going to identify those key points. But there's been a lot of questions that go in when people come into the boardroom. Now we have a compelling introduction that we have people put together. I think it's very difficult for some people. So I think it makes some of that a little bit easier as well. Even though I love that challenge, and with our private client group, we put people through that all the time. But we started with questions like the very basic questions, like you were just talking about, was, who are you? What do you do? Who is your customer? And why I say customer in singular is because that's who it is. It's singular. And I would have people for years, and we've been doing this for 10 years now, go, well, it's anyone who, and I was like, uh-oh, kind of like a Rain Man, uh-oh type thing. And they go, what? And I go, the closest thing to anyone is no one. I want to know who your customer is. I don't want an anyone who. I want to know the intimacy that you possess with this customer, this avatar. And so then we go through and we say, well, what is that unique product or service that you offer that differentiates you from everybody else, is the third question. The fourth question is, how does your customer brag about you? People go, oh, good service, or, really good guy, or he's been very helpful. That's not how people brag. They brag by feel, felt, found. Somebody's like, hey, I'm looking for an attorney. God, I can't find one. Totally understand how you feel. I felt the same way, felt, right? But what I found was this gentleman was so good. Really you just wanted to help me through the entire process, whether I ever signed with him or not. And he was just really had me looking at things a different way, and helped me confidently proceed, because there was so much anxiety. That's how somebody brags about you, right? And then the last one, because when people brag about you, it's not about them looking smart. It's about them having an opportunity to help somebody. It's an altruistic thing, right?
Of course.
So, and then the last question is, what do you do that makes you the best in the world in the eyes of your customer or client, right? And people go, oh, back to the great service. I mean, you really spent a lot of time with them, whatever. That isn't it. It's, and we give them the answer in Thursday Night Boardroom about what it is and how it's connected. And a lot of it is steeped in the fact that when we can articulate the needs, desires, challenges, fears, and aspirations of this person, this customer, this prospect, our spouse, our children, our friend, whoever it is, the other person, when we can articulate the needs, desires, challenges, fears, and aspirations of this person, not better than they can to you, but better than they can to themselves. You pass the tipping point of being their trusted advisor. And all you have to do is continue to recognize those attributes, and you'll be their trusted advisor for life. Because as humans, you, me, anybody listening, anybody driving by right now, flying above, whatever, we all suffer from the same frustration. We all share the same frustration. That we don't feel understood. And the second we can start to articulate somebody and share their story better than they can to themselves, they're like, whoa, like this person gets me. And not only do they get me, I get to go on an adventure every time this person comes in the room because they're going to tell me a story about my favorite subject, me, and where I'm going. And he's celebrating me all the time. And, you know, it's, you can't fake that. It's just what it is.
Exactly.
And it's about proactive empathy, not waiting to hear what somebody's going to tell you in their complaints, observing and acknowledging and proactively understanding and expressing, you know, if I hear you right, this is what you're telling. Yes, you get me. That creates that immediate connection.
That's great. That's great. I mean, yeah, it's amazing how you structure it, and then as you put it, like, you know, how people brag about you, which creates this snowball effect of your business. Like you basically don't have to market it as aggressively because you have like other people marketing you, right?
Yeah, I aggressive marketing to me is off-putting. When we are marketing and presenting ourselves properly, every email you send, no matter if you send it to 1 or 1 million people, if those people are your customer, they will feel like you're writing that email to them. The thing that drives me nuts on lives, like something like we're doing now, is the host gets on and goes, "Hello, everybody. How many people do you think are looking at that same computer? How many people are looking at that phone? How many people? Who's everybody?" You could be talking to 100,000 people, and you're doing it one at a time. And so it's just about really that type of connection. So marketing, aggressive marketing, man, that's about trying to convince somebody. And Dean Jackson has talked to me about this a bunch of times. Are you convincing? Or is this a compelling story that makes people say, I want that. I want to do business with you. Without ever asking. Without ever asking.
And I want to mention one thing here. You know, this Thursday Night Boardroom can be life-changing, but it's absolutely free. You don't charge for it, and anybody can join. So, I mean, there is some story behind that as well. So, can you share that with us?
Yeah, I've had several people that you would see, you know, online, authors, leaders say, we want to take Thursday Night Boardroom and we want to treat it and create something like AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, for entrepreneurs.
Okay.
No, because they don't feel understood. They don't feel like they can talk to anybody. They certainly can't talk to anybody in their family. They're having a hard time sharing with anybody. This is a place where you can go where you feel understood. And they were like, "Oh, we can charge for it. We can do this." And it just felt so disjointed for me. And I will tell you that I have personally benefited several hundred thousands of dollars over 10 years because of the byproduct of people wanting to help me and reciprocate. Never the intention. But Thursday Night Boardroom is free. It is no charge, but there's a cost. And that is that you come into Thursday Night Boardroom, and this is probably why it's free. You come into Thursday Night Boardroom, you're going to share. And if I feel like you're playing guarded, one, it's my job to make you feel safe in there. Because when we're safe with our vulnerability, that's the real foundation of a great relationship. So it's my job to make you feel safe. But but at the same time, as we're going through our questions and the hot seat is, the selfish ask is really a way of putting somebody on the hot seat, right? We're not tricking them, but they put them on the hot seat. And so when you're on the hot seat, if there's a question to be asked, I'm going to ask it. And there's people there's longtime people in Thursday Night Boardroom. Stephen Dale, it comes to mind in particular, who's been around for a while, since 2012, and he will ask the question that he'll ask him from a different perspective. And there's people in there that will ask those questions. We had a person, a guest one time. This is a long time ago, and I feel a little bad about the way this was handled on my end. But it is what it is. He comes up and he says, in order to be, and I'm not going to give him up who he is, but you've got to be diligent is his first piece of advice. So first step, you've got to be diligent. And everybody's like kind of nodding their head, and I'm going, raise my hand, and the guy goes, like, this is the very beginning. Why you raise your hand? I said, what does that mean? What does what mean? Does to be diligent? You don't know what diligent means? I go, I think I know what it means, but I want to be able to see what it means in your definition. So answer these questions, or finish this sentence for me. Yeah. I know I'm being diligent when ... and give us some bullet points. And he wouldn't do it. And he lost the room. And of course, I'm sure he blames me for it. But that's the thing. I mean, you can't just come in and half-ass this thing. Yeah. We're gonna there's people have different styles, but this is Thursday Night Boardroom. I'm not charging you. And if you're a guest, I'm giving you access to a bunch of people.
Exactly.
And so we're gonna get real. And so there is a cost. And I'm not, I don't keep it a secret. People know that you're going to come in, you are going to participate. And we just don't want to hear the lovey flowery stuff either. We want to hear how you've just gotten your ass kicked and dusted off and picking back up, because we can all learn from that. We can all be inspired by that. We can all benefit from your learning process. And that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, it was I'll repeat, it was an amazing experience. And the question that stands out, I repeat again, like, what is your selfish ask? Nobody has asked something like that in my entire lifetime. So it almost sounded like, okay, what is your wish? I'm going to grant you that wish. And it was like so impactful. And so, as you said, like, just learning from other people and what they're going through, how they have built their empires and all that. It's just amazing. And now let me come to the next part where, messaging is one of your strong suit as well. And I know I have struggled with messaging for such a long time. And you have this framework value. So can we talk about that a little bit? Like, first of all, how important is messaging? And then we can jump into value.
Well, the first and foremost, the connection that someone, feels that you understand them and get them and they're comfortable with you. Because if that's not established, all the messaging in the world won't matter. If this person doesn't want to like you, they're not going to like you. Even if you told them you got 5 gold bars for them at the end of this presentation.
I see.
They're not going to, that's not going to do anything. But the messaging is basically in a saying that I use. When I can see it, I can share it.
I see.
And from a marketing standpoint, when somebody is sharing what you're doing, and you're having, exponential viral distribution of your message, of what you do, that's a big deal. And so I just had it today. Somebody sent me a price list from something that I'm moving off, some inventory I'm moving off. I've never heard of this guy. And I was explaining to somebody else what this product is and the attributes of this product. And all of a sudden there's a guy sending a price list out nationally with my stuff on it, with my kind of explanation of it.
Yeah.
That makes you feel pretty damn good. You're like, I have no idea who this guy is. I was listening to Hal Elrod the other day about Miracle Morning, and he was working with his clients. And at the beginning of all of this stuff, he was like blown away that people that he'd never met before were sharing the benefits of their miracle morning. And so to be able to express and give somebody a message that is so simple to share, right? How many times do people introduce themselves to you and you go, cool? You know, for me, simple. My day job is I sell all proteins. You know, I sell seafood, anything that walks, flies, or swims, as far as beef, pork, lamb, veal, poultry, you know, chicken or turkey or anything, and seafood, right? To food service, into the food service distribution channel, where my customers are food service operators, major food service operators, but I sell through food service distributors. And so I'm working the entire supply chain for that. But all people care about is, at that point, who do you sell to? Like, okay, well, I sell to Cheesecake Factory, I sell to BJ's Restaurants, or I sell, you know, oh, what do you sell? So I tell them, now all of a sudden they can see that. Right? Oh, I sell this guy, whatever. And they go, oh yeah, I'm ordering this because I know that guy. Because they can see it. We can talk about supply chain solutions and all these different things, right? I sell fish to this guy, I sell some pork belly to this guy. You know, this is what I do. We put these solution-based contracts together for these restaurants. Oh, neat. Yeah, and I fly around the world sourcing seafood, and I come back and tell my customers stories about it, you know, and so they're like, oh man, this is such a cool job. And now all of a sudden they're ordering the food because they go, yeah, this guy sells this, and man, he flies around the world. So there's a simple message that they can see. And in a lot of cases, it's aspirational. They're like, I want that, right? And so when we can share something so simply without jargon that somebody can see as it's being presented, they can't wait to share that. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many times have you seen that? It's like, oh my God, that is the coolest idea. And then the next person you're talking to, you got to go talk. This guy, I just met with this guy in school. I'm just talking about Hal Elrod, right?
Exactly.
Hal Elrod, to me, any one of those early morning, it sounds like there's a lot of wannabe or former Navy SEALs. They're badass dudes, and they're like, this is what you got to do. Hal Elrod is so not that guy, right? And he's got savor, so he's able to, you know, it's get up and silence or meditation, affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading and scribing or journaling, right? There's things that he was able to share in a very short period of time that I'm like, I want that, and I want that for the people that I love and care about. And that's like where this, you know, the miracle morning. I mean, think about the message. See those messages. I'm a passionate curator of those, if you haven't recognized already.
Of course, yeah.
I love seeing that it's like so simple that I gravitate to the simple message. Because if it's simple to hear, it's simple to understand, it's simple to share, it's also simple to do. And so messaging, once you've established a connection, to be able to help somebody see what you do is not just an obligation to help them, but it's an obligation to help turn around and help them to the people they love and serve. Right?
That's great. No, I mean, I can tell you, like, of course, that's something that I have struggled with. As you said, you know, when I used to introduce myself, I had, you know, people used to be confused, and I was confused what to say.
Right.
And it helped me a lot. Now, you mentioned that you know,
you got a lot better, by the way, way better. For the first
you.
time to now is like, whew, man, I think I understand what he's doing.
So let's talk about this pandemic experience that we are having, and I'm sure, you know, your industry has been affected. So, in your opinion, how is the economy changing? Like, we are socially distant, and things are changing. So, what do you think the future of business is going to be like in this socially distant economy?
It's to me, I don't believe it's a game changer. I believe it's an accelerant. I think that there's been the right way and the wrong way to sell. There's the right way, the wrong way to market. And those people that are trying to push product, like a competitor of mine that might look at the customer and say, I've got fish, you've got money, let's trade, right?
Yeah.
They don't, unless they've got something that is of superior quality at a price lower than everybody else, they have very little chance of doing business.
Yeah.
I think that we're in the process of and I'm in the food service business, so I'm going to speak in restaurant terms.
Yeah,
but you can retail terms, you can speak in terms of colleges and universities, any type of business. If there are businesses out there that were struggling for cash flow, if there are businesses out there that were top line driven and felt like sales cure all ills, those are the first ones that are going. Because sales is the lifeblood of a company.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you don't have systems, processes, and disciplines in place, you're going to bleed out all over the floor and down the drain.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing restaurants that are, that are going out of business because they were so heavily strapped in debt.
I see.
They were so incumbent. They needed. Remember we talked about want and grow and need? They needed to grow in order for them to be able to service debt. They needed it. That was if they didn't get the need, they were going to disappear. They needed it. And so it's super important to be nimble. March 17th or March 19th, this all came down, crashing down on us. And I was sitting there a couple days later. It was a Friday now. I think it was happened on Wednesday. It was a Friday. And I said, our distributors have a lot of fresh meat in their warehouses. And another thing, it's Friday. There are trucks on the road right now arriving on Monday with more fresh meat.
Yeah.
I said to my boss, we have a huge part of our business that sells into retail, and they can't keep meat in the building.
Yeah.
I said, we need to become buyers.
Yeah, I remember you talked about that. I remember you talking about that in
So being able to flip the script a little bit and become, and boy, talk about partnership. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm a buyer and a seller.
Yeah.
And so it's not like, oh, well, I've tricked them now that I'm a buyer. No, it's we understand inflow and outflow, and we recognize what is important to each other. And we operate under that. And it's been just fantastic through that. A lot of, by the way, you would think that in times like this, loyalties kind of go to the wayside. I'm experiencing the opposite. We're getting to contract season and it's like, you know what? Thank you. Let's just keep going.
Awesome.
Tell me where I am market-wise and what we can do, and can you save me any money, whatever, but let's just keep going together.
Yeah.
And so I'm seeing that being different. I can tell you that from a personal standpoint, I think that all the days being the same, it's so funny to me because people call and go, hey, I'm like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. It's Friday. I'm like, what the hell's the difference? You're doing something different tomorrow than you were doing today?
Yeah.
I think we're working harder and longer than we've ever worked.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that the people that again are nimble and can operate with and manage inventories and manage when I say inventory, manage expenses.
Yeah.
They're going to last through this, and we're going to get through this. And people that are like the term back to normal, oh boy, I'm sorry. There is going to be no back to normal. There's going to be a new normal.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But you know what? We're going to also recognize human interaction,
Yeah, yeah.
and like we're looking at each other on this stream right now.
Yeah, yeah.
My boss, after a while, everybody was talking on the phone together, and then I would set up a weekly Zoom meeting with people,
Mhm, mhm.
and he just goes, you know what? That's not enough.
Mm.
He goes, we're going to be in this for a long time. He
Yeah, yeah,
goes,
yeah.
I'm going to get camera phones for everybody.
Wow.
So when we're talking to people at their homes, because they've now set up their business at homes,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
we're seeing each other. Like
Yeah,
we're having that special interaction. I
yeah,
think that people are learning better ways to interact.
yeah,
I think that we're seeing people that are wanting to deny what's going on. Um, but the reality is that this is just started to impact people. Um, I'm not going to get political. I think that we probably have, I don't think any president that takes office in this day and age is going to have the luxury of, you know, getting himself used to the office.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Getting himself used to, like, hey, whatever you want to say, whoever's going to be there
Yeah,
is
yeah,
familiar with the surroundings,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And somebody's going to have to do something. But I'm seeing um, the independent restaurateur
Mhm,
is really struggling.
mhm.
But we talk about again. Remember, we talk again the big difference between want and need. I want this restaurant to succeed. I need this restaurant to succeed. The people that are saying I need this restaurant to succeed are not being as creative as they can be.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
watching a guy say, I want this thing. I want to grow this thing. He's put a huge tent out in his parking lot. He's got a live band out in the parking lot. He's doing all these things. I'm like, he's never closing that tent. That restaurant on the
Yeah,
inside, when
yeah,
they again, he's going to be in there and he's going to
yeah,
be
yeah,
out here because
yeah,
guess
yeah.
what? Now he's able to serve more people. And so I
Exactly.
think that people are needing to be a lot more creative,
Mhm.
and the collaboration component here is unusual. I mean, it's unusual in a good way. I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
we're seeing people that are. I think collaboration eats competition for lunch.
Uh-huh.
Cooperation, collaboration, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I've had that opportunity where buyers are sellers, sellers are buyers, and we're all working on behalf of helping each other.
yeah.
And I think that I've seen a lot more cooperation of those people that are real solutions based.
Mhm.
Uh, when we're in needs based, we're focusing on the problem. When we're in solutions based or we're want based, we're looking at better solutions. And
That's
so
amazing.
I
Yeah,
think that we're seeing the opportunity for people to exhibit their best selves during
yeah, yeah,
this, and there is not a bigger divide than those people right now. That the
yeah,
people that are creative and want based and service based and solutions based versus the people that are just trying to play defense and
yeah,
say
yeah.
that's that's a diminishing return every day.
That that's very very well said, and I think there's a lot of meaning to unpack there. So I mean, people should listen to this what you just said like multiple times over to let it sink in. But yeah, I mean, even the example that you gave me, because I remember I attended that Thursday night boardroom when you mentioned that you became buyer. So that level of nimbleness, that level of adaptability is also key. And like just actually see you doing that at a scale that you do it is very inspiring. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Well, thank you.
And
Thank
yeah,
you. I think this is a great format.
thank you so much. And yeah, it's been such a lovely conversation. Thank you so much. Now, before I let you go, can you tell us how people can reach out and if they want to attend the Thursday night boardroom, or
Yeah,
how can they connect?
would love it. Would love it. It's real hard, so you got to write this down. ThursdayNightBoardroom.com.
Yeah.
And you'll go in, and of course, it will ask some questions.
Mhm.
And then we're going to take a peek at who you are, what you do, who you do it for, what you can add to the boardroom, what you're looking to get from the boardroom. And then you'll be invited. And you're invited to our Facebook group, but you're also going to be invited to Thursday Night Boardroom itself.
Yeah.
And commonly, and it's we've been doing them. Well, for 10 years, we were doing them in person.
Yeah.
Never recorded. We had done some streaming at one point, but it was not a. It took away from what we were doing, right? And so, during this, we've had during COVID, we've been doing them with Zoom, and there's been some of the best meetings we've ever had via Zoom. And some of the best conversations we've ever had via Zoom. And I really, I'm not sure how the future is gonna go for us. I think that we might do a in-person session maybe every other month, but I want to continue to be able to collaborate with people from around the world. I mean, and we've had people from London on there. We've had, Canada, and I mean, it's just, and then all over the country, right across the country. And so I don't want to give that up. I think that I've really learned to enjoy that depth and the breadth of attendees, and making it simple for people. But I'm sure there's going to be people that are really eager to get out and do things sooner than later. And so I think it's going to be an additive thing. I think we're going to continue to do Thursday Night Boardroom via Zoom as well.
So we'll put the link in the show notes, and I just want to reiterate, anybody listening, anybody watching, this could be life changing. So you going to Thursday Night Boardroom, you could run into a person who's running a 9-figure business and they want to buy your solution or whatever. Like, those connections are invaluable. And not only that, there is content that is shared. There are concepts that are shared free of cost, which are probably worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I cannot recommend it enough to attend that and take advantage of what is available. So
it's funny, Manuj. Somebody listening right now is going, "Come on, what's the catch?
Yeah,
are they going to pitch me something? Are they going to do?" Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for you to buy something from me ever.
Yeah.
I just happen to have people say, "Hey, I want you to advise for me," or something. That was a byproduct of it, a surprise, if you will. But there is no catch. The catch is, you come, you're gonna participate, and we're gonna make it safe for you to be vulnerable. But that's then what we're gonna expect. So I really look forward to more people, and especially your audience joining. And you know what? It's all we can do is get better together.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Let's end on that high note, and I'll look forward to learning from you more. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Hey, it's great seeing you.
Thanks.
Bye now.